Welcome to a video where I'm going to introduce you to the precede-proceed model and also talk to you about a proposal paper. So we use the precede-proceed model, which I'm going to now, from now on, refer to as the PPM, because it's a little bit, it's a lot of words. The PPM is used as a framework, and it's used by most professors who teach 302, 303, 304 as a framework to understand a needs assessment. And a needs assessment is just a way of viewing children, families, and communities, and ways that we can put together, like assess the needs of the community or families or children in order to lead to kind of better outcomes for any of those individuals or groups. That is like a very, very broad overview. But we use this framework because it is very visual and it's quite kind of linear, and there's different phases, and it can be very helpful to understand needs assessment or understand working with children, families, and communities by using this framework as a way to understand how to do that. So how we are going to use it in this class is we're going to do a proposal. So you're going to write an APA paper. It should be about like 5 pages of writing. So that doesn't include like the title page and the reference page, but you should have about 5-ish pages. It's very up to you. There's no word count. But there should be about 5 pages of writing where you tackle an issue that you are interested in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen, not with the assignment, but I'm going to share my screen with an actual information about the precede-proceed model. So the precede-proceed model, once again, is the framework that we use in this class to kind of understand how we can make changes, specifically kind of health and growth and development changes for like health and community issue. So this gives you a little bit more information. I also have another article from Hall, who is kind of the originator of the precede-proceed model, that I'd like you to read before you really dive deep into this assignment. But it's all about taking behaviors and activities that people engage in and making sure that we are like coming up with health promotions that really kind of change this. And then also we like this because it does talk about physical health and growth, but also kind of sees it through more of like an overall well-being lens of like there are many things that impact how we feel, what our health is, how we're doing, and that includes like our health, our community, our families, our values and beliefs. And so that's another reason that we really, really kind of like that. And I'm going to take you all the way down to this first kind of image because we're only doing the first part. So we're not doing any like implementation process evaluation. So we're just really doing like the first 4 or 5 kind of phases of precede-proceed. So we kind of divided it smack in half. And so what I'd like you to do is just worry about phase 1, which is kind of the quality of life. Phase 2, which is where we do kind of assessments into health, and then phase 3 we look at different factors predisposing, reinforcing, and enabling. And then in phase 4, kind of what are kind of larger issues and organizational kind of issues that might be affecting your idea. And then we also, for this paper, I'm going to have you like come up with an idea, like an intervention that you might want to do. So like if you were doing vaping and you are looking at teens vaping, that might be like the quality of life issue, but we also kind of want to do an intervention. So like maybe educating teens on like what is actually in those vapes. They might be like cotton candy flavor, but they also have like formaldehyde and like things that go beyond just like nicotine and tobacco, like our traditional cigarettes might do. And what are the other chemicals, and that might help people make better decisions about using vapes or not using vapes. So I just wanted you to kind of look at that, but now I'm going to just break it down into kind of the first kind of phases. The first phase is kind of quality of life or your desired result. And this is the starting point, but also the ending point. It's also like the vision. So like this is the area in which you want to do an intervention or a change. So like, let's say you were going to do vaping. So ultimate kind of desired result is that you want to educate teens and tweens about the chemicals that are in a vape. In phase 2, we look at health. And once again, this is kind of looking at a larger lens of like communities and families and environments impact health and our community. And it's not just like one person, it's kind of this like holistic, almost sociological view of how our health and our wellness and our overall kind of health and growth of our lifespan are impacted by other people. And phase 3, I love phase 3. Phase 3 is predisposing, enabling, and reinforcing factors. These are attitudes, values, beliefs, and predisposing that really help you make a decision. And enabling, think about the people and places and communities around you that enable you to make a change or kind of hold you back from making a change. And reinforcing factors as well are a lot of like environmental factors and things like that that might impact you to make a kind of health change in your life or not. And then phase 4 is administration and policy factors. So like once again, to go back to the vaping, an older legislation about the flavors that could be in like a Juul or something like that would be an example of an administration and administrative or policy factors. This could be at the like a local level, like what the city council says, maybe at a larger county or even state and federal level as well, that influence, like, can you actually buy a Juul or a vape? Where can you buy them? Where can they be sold? All of those types of stuff as well. So once again, we're not doing phases 5, 6, 7. That's out of our scope for this class. I'm just asking you to use the first couple of phases. What I'd like you and challenge you to do, I've given you an article, and then I've also want you to read through this and start thinking about what do I actually kind of want to write for my proposal paper. And in your proposal paper, once again, you're just kind of doing a couple of different phases. And actually, I actually took out the policy. So actually, I'm just doing the first 3 phases. In previous classes, I had done policy, but I'm putting that in another 303 class now. So 302, I'm actually just wanting you to do up to the factors. I had forgotten that I had done that. So you're just doing, you're kind of finishing at predisposing, enabling, but you are doing an implementation, which is your targeted activity. You might want to kind of reverse engineer this and like do the quality of life and do the activity, the implementation or the targeted like activity that you would like to do to help people, and then kind of fill in the other blanks. That's how I would do it. I would probably do number 2 and then number 5. So my quality of life issue is like low income preschoolers or rural and early adolescent tweens or something like that. And then for this case, I'm kind of using my vaping thing. So like my quality of life is I'm looking at a specific population of tweens, and I'm going to choose rural tweens, and their access to kind of vapes and Juuls and things like that. And then I probably would jump down to phase 5 and look at this evidence-based program that I would want to do. And I would probably do like a tween kind of online advertising campaign to educate teens and young and kind of middle childhood children on kind of the dangers of vaping and all of the chemicals that are in it and how it can kind of impact sports, right? Like if you're having a hard time breathing or it's making your asthma worse or something like that. Then I would come back in and I would fill in phase 2 and phase 3 by using the summary that I just showed you. You're also going to need to do your own research. Google Scholar is actually pretty helpful. So is our campus library. So you can go on our databases and search pre-seed, proceed model, and then like vapes, and then like smoking cessation or something like that. Google Scholar is actually fairly helpful as well. The wonderful thing about the PPM is it's global and like there's a lot of stuff out there. And so like sometimes researchers will put their stuff out online before like they do the like very, very long peer-reviewed study process, because they're like, hey, I did this in Australia and China and Uganda and it was super cool and I want other people in this field to know more about it. And then they're also simultaneously going through the research process as well. So if you have questions about if something's credible, how are the authors, feel free to send it to me or ask our librarian librarian, Trisha, she's more than happy to as well. But a great thing to do, and you need to do some extra research in your area. So whatever area you're going to do an evidence-based program about, you're going to need to research vapes or toddlers, social and emotional development, or middle childhood math scores, whatever it is that you kind of want to work on. You're going to have to do pre-seed, proceed model, and then also the topic that you're interested in, because that's going to help you with this phase 2 and phase 3, where you do all of the assessments, seeing what other people have done. Don't work harder, work smarter. See what other people have done and apply it to your program. That is a good way to kind of look at this. I did use AI for this, so I took in my assignment and I plugged it in through AI, and I've got to say, while I asked it not to change any of my wording, they do this whole paper structure and checklist thing that I didn't have before, and so that actually has been very, very helpful. So that kind of broke down what I needed, and then that is my grading rubric that they made look even better because it was paragraph form before. So I gotta say, AI is doing a little bit better at like the organization and the formatting than I normally would have done. And then I added in this APA help as well. So if you don't like APA, you're more familiar with MLA, this is your first time, or you've tried to ignore it up to this point, here is an APA template. This is a Google Doc. It will take you to a template. Just use that. I've got the title page, I've got the abstract page, I've got everything for you. You just have to put your own writing into this. And then I also have a little guide and checklist as well. I am pretty good at APA, so if you need help, come see me, come to my office hours, or ask for a personal Zoom and I can take you through it. If you had a draft already, that's even more helpful, because I can take you through where like areas to change and things like that. Same with research. I don't know what the next step is. Hit me up. I'm here to help you as well. So is our librarian Trisha. We also have our database, and we also have our like writing and learning and tutoring on campus as well to help you. So please do not get stuck. Please instead reach out to one of us for help. So that is due in a few weeks, I guess more months, but it is a full APA paper where you have to do multiple kind of phases and steps. I would not recommend leaving this till the very, very last minute. Instead, I would recommend kind of breaking it down. In the next couple of weeks, I'll be talking more about areas. If something jumps out to you as like, I want to know more, use that as an opportunity to kind of put this into the paper and use those ideas for this kind of proposal. But I hope you enjoy this kind of paper and thinking about changes that you might want to make in your own life and community as well. And thank you so much. I'll see you guys more kind of online.